everybody, byscreenside here today, bringing you a collaboration video. Today, this is my half of a collaboration build that I did with EmergedSphinx. He is a YouTuber that does Sims videos, Minecraft, unboxing, like all kinds of like cute, fun stuff. And he has been like super awesome, like one of the first people who like came over and like left me any comments or anything on my channel. So he's super kind and he asked me to do this collaboration, and I said sure, yeah, let's do that. So what he did was he built the exterior of the house and I built the interior. Um, with the exception of the that I you saw at the beginning, I did the windows. He very thoughtfully left the windows of the sides and back of the build for me to decide where they would go, because he understood that it like where your windows are like factor into like how you do the layout of any interior. At least that's my experience, and I think that's something that you would keep in mind, like even when you're decorating a real house in real life, like how you would lay out the room depends on where the windows are. You don't want to get a glare on your TV, like that kind of stuff. And like you can't have a room like with a window like split in half. Of it doesn't make sense. So very thoughtfully and very kindly he left that to me. And so the exterior, I will link. You can see his build video for that. I will link to that below if you want to see the exterior being built. I did the interior, as you can clearly see, and I was glad that he offered to do the exterior, because I've as I've said in other videos, I think interiors are come more easily to me. So yeah, and this is a great big old penthouse with 3 beds, 4 baths, a gym slash sauna room. It's like a combined living and dining room, of course, kitchen. There's a music room and a like a little gaming rig room, which you'll see later. But was my contribution to it. And of course, his exterior has got like a basketball court and a pool, like a really cool pool. Like the way he did the pool was really interesting. I never would have thought to do that. So that's nifty. Nifty is such a dorky word, by the way. That's nifty, but I said it. So we're gonna all move past it. Okay, cool. All right. So I did have to cut this video down a bit because it did take me a long time to complete this. It was a big place with tall walls, and I don't normally do tall walls myself because of it just is more just because I'm lazy, I guess, because it is more work to make a build with tall walls look full versus medium or short walls. So I tend to do that. But I was also happy that he did that because, one, it was a bit more of a challenge for me, and I should, be more I should not more welcoming, but I should always welcome a challenge. I think we all should. And also because be, I so rarely use tall walls that it gave me the opportunity to use some like maybe like like longer ceiling lights that I never get the opportunity to use. So there are definitely like some upsides, and I had a lot of fun doing this. Really did. Um, and I did really in the end love the way it turned out. But so I did have to cut quite a bit just because of how long it took. But at the same time, like the meat of the build is there. Like you really don't miss a lot. Most of what I had to cut out was like saving, like me like going through menus and finding stuff to use for decor and stuff like that. So I just cut around kind of like the BS really, for lack of a better word for it. But my goal for this build was to do something very classy looking and sort of pull back on my tendency to like mix colors, or not colors but patterns. I love to use like a lot of like bold patterns and colors and mix those and make them work together. and I still did that in a lot of places in this, but I did want to kind of scale back on that just a touch because I know that's not everybody's aesthetic. And I just wanted to make it look like expensive. And I think it does wind up I think I did the trick in the end. So yeah, this gold living room with the like gold sort of zebra print rug. Ugh, I love that. And I think it looks so stunning with the way the light comes in and hits it. I used a lot of brick on the interior. So a lot of the city living content, which I still am not over. Like usually when we get new content, I will kind of get sick of it more quickly, I guess, like in a way. And this, city living is still like, I'm still like super in love with all the, especially build and buy content that came with the pack. The creative sim, not as much, but still, but, but yeah, I still am really super enjoying the city living pack. I didn't put on any lot traits. I haven't been doing that on any of the. My cat just knocked something over. That's awesome. Sorry about that. But I haven't been assigning lot traits to any of my builds because I've just figured, you're probably going to want to change them to suit your needs anyway. So I just leave that be and let the person who downloads this into their game make the decision. So, of course, speaking of downloading this into your game, I will, of course, link the completed build in the description box with my half of the build included. So you can, if you're super into this and you want it in your life, you may download it. So there you go. So how's everyone doing today? This is actually Thanksgiving for me right now as I record this. So I'm all stuffed full of delicious food and about to fall asleep. So if I sound like it, that's why. I don't think I do though. I think I'm pretty good. Uh, I hope not. Yeah. So anywho, so earlier this week, I just wanted to say I was watching a build video by one of my favorite simmers, and I always feel the need to say, like, I don't know, I'm not affiliated with this person. Like, when I mention people, like other simmers and videos that I watch on YouTube, it's usually just because I'm a fan of theirs and not because, like, it's any sort of endorsement or anything like that. Like, I mean, not saying that I wouldn't endorse these other simmers that I talk about. I mean, like, they don't know me, like, or anything like that. Uh, but I was watching a video by Lil Simsy, who's one of my favorite people to watch because she's just really funny in her videos. And she was telling a story about something that had happened to her in middle school. And I was laughing out loud at the video because it was just so funny. And it was intended to be like she was telling a story about like something embarrassing that had happened to her, but it just made me like think, well, for one, it made me think I've got to tell stories more often because I watch a lot of different builders and I always enjoy like the stories that they tell about their lives. So I'm like, I should do that more often. And two, it got me thinking about like my own like middle school and high school experiences and some of the things I remember that I hadn't thought about in a really long time. And I was thinking a fun story to share. I don't really have a good segue for it, but I just wanted to share this one because I hadn't thought about it in a really long time, and I was like, man, that was so funny. So what it was um, that I was thinking about was, okay, so I went to this itty bitty tiny little school. I grew up in like a one stoplight town. No kidding. Maybe no, maybe two. Yeah, two in the whole town. And so it was a tiny little school. Everybody knew everybody. And I was in the marching band, which it probably comes as no surprise because, this is a YouTube gaming channel for The Sims, so it's pretty safe to assume I'm gonna be kind of a nerd. So, yeah, I was in marching band in high school. And we had, because it was such like a tiny school, like small budget situation, our band uniforms were just like 1,000 years old. Like they had been passed down. Like every year, the seniors would hand over their uniforms to like the new kids coming in, and they had just been passed down for like ages. So we did this big fundraiser to buy new uniforms, and we got them. And like to celebrate, they had this photographer come in to take our pictures in our band uniforms for like the yearbook and whatever. Interruptions. Sorry. Stupid phone. Okay. So, so they have this photographer come in, and it was the last period, I want to say, of my school day. And so I go, like, he's set up in like our band room, like our choir room. And I go in, and there are lots of the members of the band that are already in there, and they're kind of all, I came up to one of my friends, and they were kind of like huddled together talking. And it turned out like, that the photographer that the school had hired was like being a real nasty jerk to everybody. Like just really impatient and really like just uncool. And like I think like he had really upset like one of the younger kids in the band, and I think that I was probably like maybe a junior in high school at this point. So and I was just kind of like, oh, this guy's being a jerk, and it didn't quite register with me like just how much until like it was my turn to get my picture taken. And I just remember like us just standing there like, oh God, why is he being so like mean and nasty to everybody and super impatient and just really uncool. And like we were standing there like all butthurt having a conversation about like how gross he was being to everybody when my friend Nancy walked in. So she had come in from changing into her uniform. She just sort of like ambles up to us like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" And so we're telling her about like what a big giant jerk like this guy is being. And my friend Nancy, one of the smartest people that I've ever met in my entire life. She's one of those people that is not only like book smart, but also like will easily like size up a person. So she's not just book smart, but also like really quick-witted and clever. And so we're telling her like what a giant bully this photographer was being to everybody. And she gets this like kind of look on her face, like her game face comes over her face, and she's like, "Okay, all right." Like that, "Yeah, you want to mess with my friends?" Like that kind of a look. And she goes, "All right, okay. Well, you know what? This guy is about to meet the dumbest person he has ever met." And I remember like we kind of looked at each other like, "What? How is that a threat? Like what are you going to do?" And so she steps out into the hallway and unbuttons her uniform jacket and like rebuttons it back up so that it's lopsided and kind of like sticking up into her chin. And like we're still like, "What are you doing?" when he calls her name to go over there. So she goes over there, and you know how it is when you're getting your picture taken. They tell you where to stand, how to turn, tilt your head this way, blah blah blah. Everybody remembers school pictures. Or if you're, I don't know, maybe that's just a US thing. No, it can't be. It can't be. Everybody gets there. And it's never fun. Like it's always like a giant pain, like because you're, especially like in high school, when you're like, "Yeah, I just got a new pimple like 5 minutes ago, and the last thing I want to do is sit down and get my picture taken." And it's just, ugh, it's just an icky experience, right? And I also think like part of the reason maybe this guy seemed like such a jerk is because, again, tiny town that I came from, and we always had this same photographer for school pictures every single year from kindergarten like all the way through 12th grade. And it's this guy with this like super cheesy personality that like always would like call us over and like give us like nicknames that he just made up off the top of his head. Like usually it was like an old person's name. Like he'd be like, all right, who's next? Like, we'd be lined up. He'd be like, all right, who's next? All right, George. All right, come here, sit down, take a shot, put your feet here on the mark, take a look over your shoulders, and then a big smile and cheese. Click. All right, who's next? All right, hey Gladys, hey, come on over. Blah blah blah. You know, and like when you're in high school, like that's kind of like, oh God, it's this guy. But like, like when we were in elementary school, we were all just like, hee, my name's not Gladys or whatever. But we, I think, maybe we secretly liked it in high school. I don't know. Who's to say? You just can't act like it in high school. You got to be too cool for everything. But, so, maybe it comes from maybe all photographers are jerks. I don't really know. I haven't gotten my picture taken professionally a whole lot outside of my school experience. Um, and maybe that's why this guy like seemed especially bad, but whatever, he was being a jerk. So he calls Nancy over and he's telling her to stand, like, stand on the mark. And he'd be like, come a little bit forward. And she would take like a fraction of an inch step forward. And he, no, like forward, come on, more forward. And then she would like take a way too big step forward. And like, so she keeps doing this to him, like, and he's getting like visibly like more and more agitated with her. And the whole time, the expression on her face is just like somebody, like what I would compare it to would be like if someone didn't really know how to speak the language that you were speaking to them, like they only half understood it, but they were genuinely trying to understand you. Like that's what made it so genius. Is like her face was sort of vacant, but it looked like she was really trying, but she was definitely, I mean, giving him crap. Like again, one of the smartest people I knew. So this guy's getting more and more angry, and then he'd be like, turn to your left, and she would turn to her right, and then he'd be like, your other left, just nasty and mean. And then so she would turn to her left, but then like way too far. So she spent probably like 10 minutes like just making him go back and forth trying to get her into position to the point where he had like go over and physically like place his hands on her and put her in position. And by the way, the whole time this is going on, she game faced the whole time. We're in the corner where the photographer cannot see, like laughing so hard. And like there were like lots of people around, like in the room buzzing around, like laughing. So like we were trying to be discreet about it. We were trying to be quiet about it. Like we didn't want to tip off the photographer that like there was something going on or anything. Like this wasn't like her being genuine. And so, like, we're really trying to be discreet about it, but the whole time this is going on, like, more and more people are coming over. Like, what are you guys laughing about? Like, what's going on? What's so funny, you know? And so, like, a bigger and bigger group starts forming, watching her give this guy, like, absolute heck, to use a kinder word. And so she's selling it the whole time perfectly. And so he finally gets her into position and has her standing like with her head tilted the way he wants and her, her in the right spot and everything else. And he leans in to like he's just about to click the button on the camera, and then you see his hands like fly up in the air, and he's like his head throws his head back, and he's like, "Your jacket's buttoned wrong." Like all of this time, like he finally gets her to where she needs to be, and then he realizes her jacket is buttoned wrong. Absolutely brilliant, best payoff moment, and all of us standing behind him just like doubled over and lost our minds. It was some of the best like just payback I've ever seen given out, like in not even that mean of a way, really. Like, she could have just been a jerk to him or whatever. But nah, she just gave him a hard time. And that's like when I sort of learned that in life, like, you don't even always have to necessarily outsmart your enemies. Sometimes you can just outstupid them and it'll be awesome. So that absolutely was one of my favorite things that ever happened in all of high school. And to this day, like, when people are being like intentionally nasty or sarcastic Especially like, sarcasm has its place. I love sarcasm as much as the next person, but sometimes it's just unnecessary. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's just like you didn't need to be that way about it. It was a simple question. You don't need to snap at me. You know what I mean? So sometimes the best way to like come back at that is just to be like, just to pretend you didn't understand the sarcasm, and that takes all like the wind out of this, like it takes all the bite out of the sarcasm when you come back with like pretending that you didn't know that it was meant to be sarcastic. So that's a good tip, by the way, just life lessons with byscreenside. Just sometimes just pretending to be dumb is the best way out of a situation. So back to the build that's going on here in front of our eyes. I did do like I do see this actually in terms of like the size and setup of the house as being more ideal for like a group of young adults who are all living together. So if you're into like the sort of roommates play style, then this makes a good build, but I wanted to make sure to include like a kids room as well. So that way if you are simming with a family, like there's plenty of like kid stuff and activities for the little ones. And so that is, I did this room this way, but if you, it could be easily converted into like more of an adult style room by just taking the toys out and maybe like adding in like another thing or two. I mean, the build itself that EmergedSphinx did, and oh, which by the way, I should mention that he did say that his channel is going to be renamed to SimSphinx. So I don't know if that includes like the name, like the YouTube channel link. I don't know if he would do that or even if those can change, honestly. But just in case like you're watching this video sometime in the future and you are searching for the exterior of this, he may be known as SimSphinx at that time instead of EmergedSphinx. So I just thought I would mention that. But he built like this is a big house, and so I didn't want to do a ton of bedrooms. I wanted to do like the gym and sauna room, which you saw built earlier. And so like you could always convert that to a bedroom if you want, but there's plenty of space to kind of convert and change this into a different house if you have different Sims to live in it. So, I mean, especially if you're changing from, like, if there are no kids in the house. But, yeah. But I spend a lot of time, like, oh my goodness. I don't know if you heard that or not, but my cat just, like, cried out really loud. Don't know what he's doing. But he does that sometimes. He just likes to talk for no reason. But I went into the debug menu this time around, and so there's like some snow globes and like I used this really cool little poster from the City Living World, and kind of like that's like one of my favorite little details in the whole build is that little poster that I sized up and kind of like stuck on the wall in the other bedroom. That room has, like a performance, like a busking space or like little studio thing. And this is this room that I'm working on now. This is my favorite room in the build, and it has like a great big space for you to do a mural. And I was trying to make sure that I included all like the city living activities and stuff, and then I remembered like just at the very end that I'd forgotten a bubble blower. So this room you'll see in a few seconds like me add in the bubble blower into the, I see that being like either a teen room or like a young adult that lives in the house as well, because bedroom, the master bedroom, well, all the rooms have an ensuite in this build. I just thought that there was room for it, and I like a lot of bathrooms when I'm playing because, I that bladder need especially can like drop so quickly on you, and you like have a sim in the shower taking forever, and like one sim is about to pee themselves. So, oh my gosh, Archie, stop it. So sorry. Oh, goodness gracious. I actually had to like stop recording for a second to kind of give my cat some attention because he'll usually like meow like that when either he wants to play with our other cat or he wants attention from me, and he doesn't care that I'm recording. He that's the wonderful thing about pets. They're like, I don't care what you're doing. I want you to pay attention to me. So, yep, had to do that. And I think he was a little bit bummed too because I was not home all day. I was out having Thanksgiving with my dad. So, yeah. Anyway, we are actually getting ready to come up on the screenshots here in a couple seconds so you can get a really good look at the apartment from a sim perspective, which is my favorite. That's my favorite part. I like to see what it looks like or what it would look like to the sim that lives there, which makes me a huge nerd, but I don't care. So here are the screenshots. This we had like the entrance with the elevator. This is the living room, and we've got another shot of the living room with the dining area. We have the kitchen, which this is one of my favorite kitchens. I really like this one. And another shot of the kitchen with the bar. This is the upstairs bathroom with the amazing view if you're taking a bath, and the other side of the upstairs bathroom. We have the music room with the keyboard, karaoke, the downstairs bedroom with the mural item and the bubble blower. And we also have, this is the gym slash sauna slash wellness room, an interior of the sauna itself. This is the downstairs hallway, and this is the master bedroom. And then we have a shot of the master bath. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Please remember to like and subscribe, and also check out EmergedSphinx's channel. It's awesome. Bye everybody!